Good morning, everyone. It's Candice.
And Leah. If you're new to our channel, we make videos every Sunday. Today
we're still in Berlin.
It's still cold and we're still in Berlin, but we're going to get out there and do another walking tour.
This one's going to be a more classic history on Berlin, so kind of the main touristy spots. Alright, we're going to catch the metro to another part of town, and we will catch up with you then.
See ya. Alright, so we are at the foot of the Brandenburg Gate. Most people probably know it from recent history. 1987, President Ronald Reagan spoke, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. So this area is actually one of victory. It dates back to 1791, where it was first commissioned. It was really just a common simple solution. It marked the end of the boulevard, so it had no political or really any significant meaning to it. The top of the structure, if you look way up there, the chariots were actually stolen by Napoleon during the French invasion and were later reclaimed by the Germans when they conquered the French. So it is a symbol of both unity and victory. And up until most recent times, 1989, when the gate was reopened, it has been a symbol of prosperity and hope for the people of Germany.
Now, when you look at a modern-day map of Berlin, you would actually think off the top of your head that the gate would have fallen on what would be the western side of the Berlin Wall, but you would be mistaken. The wall was actually built right outside behind me here, behind the gate, and the gate actually itself fell in eastern Berlin. Very close to the Brandenburg Gate is the Holocaust Memorial. Out of respect, we did not talk while roaming the endless rows of concrete slabs. The memorial is very unique and evokes a lot of emotions. We went during a time where there was condensation on the walls, and it seemed as if the walls themselves were crying. There is a museum underneath the memorial that is free, and we would highly recommend that you check it out.
We also encourage you to visit the Berlin Story Bunker. The museum covers the history of how the Nazi Party rose to power as a way of informing the public so that these atrocities never happen again.
Alright, right now I am standing in front of this big building right here. This building was built during the 1930s during the rise of Nazi Germany, and it's built in a style of architecture called totalitarian architecture. You can see by looking at it, it is very bleak and bland and kind of fear-evoking. And this is the most well-kept style of totalitarian architecture in this area. It still stands to house another equally as scary administration known as the tax administration. If someone asked me what this building reminds me of, I would say a scene directly out of the Hunger Games. It is very scary and kind of overpowering. It's giving me a weird feeling.
Alright, so directly behind me is the Berlin Wall, and no, we're not at the East Side Gallery, which you'll see is a more curated artwork style of the wall. This is a more authentic feel of what it would have been like after 48 hours of the wall going up, this concrete slab that sectioned off West Berlin from East Berlin, the more democratic society from the more socialist communist part of Germany. So when the wall first went up, it didn't actually look like the structure you see behind me. It was more so a perimeter of barbed wire and military personnel that controlled the whole area of East and West Berlin, sectioning off two people. Overnight, families and friends were divided. They lost their houses, their jobs. Wherever you ended up that night, whatever side you were on, that's where you stayed for almost 3 decades.
Time for lunch. Alright, so this is our first German pretzel. We ordered 2 different types of soup. I ordered a traditional Bavarian soup, potato soup, and Leah ordered goulash, which I don't know, is that German? It's a traditional German soup.
Really hard. It's good. It's really salty. It's pretty good. It's like a meat and potato and veggie soup.
This one is the Bavarian style potato soup. It looks really good. Looks like there's some chives on top. Some potatoes and carrots. That is really good. It kind of reminds me of minestrone. It has like carrots, I think some other crushed up vegetables, and then of course potatoes, which you can't go wrong with potatoes. I'm happy.
So in 1961, after the wall had already gone up, there were several checkpoints throughout Berlin that allowed people to go through so long as you were in East German. The most famous was Checkpoint Charlie, named after Alpha Bravo Charlie. Although a popular tourist attraction today, Checkpoint Charlie marked one of the most tense moments in Cold War history. A 16-hour standoff, and that means tank standoff between the Soviet Union and the United States, took place right in this spot. So what started off as a simple misunderstanding between the US diplomats and the Soviet guards almost led to what could have been World War III.
Alright everyone, we are closing today's video out from Platz. This is an amazing plaza that has so much history. We have Humboldt University over here to my left, and you have the Opera House to my right, and in the back is St. Hedwig's. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay, I got it right. If you haven't heard of Humboldt University before, it's actually a very prestigious university. We hadn't heard of it ourselves, but you know, geniuses like Albert Einstein actually taught here, and this university has seen over 55 Nobel Prize winners. Is it Nobel Peace Prize?
No, Nobel Prize.
Nobel Prize winners. If you like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you're interested in seeing more travel videos every Sunday. I'm Candice.
And I'm Leah.
And we will see you next week.